Hello everyone, this is the second technical session where we will be working on Aegisub. So in order to open your software, look for it through the start menu of your computer or try to find the application icon if there is one on your desktop. And this is what you see when you open the software. Now, I strongly recommend that you watch both the video for Subtitle Workshop and this video because it will give you an overview of the different types of subtitling software that you can find out there and how each of them works. So in order to start working with Aegisub, the first thing you need to do is open a video. So you go to Video, Open Video, and I will be using the hotel video today. And this is what you see as soon as you open the video. Now, the first thing that you need to remember is that Aegisub is one of those types of software that also support a waveform. And this waveform appears at the top on the right-hand side. Even those of you who are used to Subtitle Workshop until now should try Aegisub at some point because it gives you the experience of using a different type of software with a waveform. So we're going to look into two ways of using this software, considering that there is a waveform that we can use for timing and without the waveform. We're going to start with the full characteristics of the software and then move on to something more simplistic that is closer to what we did with Subtitle Workshop and what you're going to watch in the other video. So this is how we open a video. By default, you see that the software gives you a subtitle file that is created automatically, but you will have to save it in order to continue working on this file. So you have to go to File, Save Subtitles, and save your, this is going here, save your file in the folder that you're using for your project. Okay, now that I have it saved, I can continue working on my file with safety. So I have opened the video, I can see my waveform. In case you cannot see your waveform, please go to Audio and open Audio from Video, making sure that the format of the waveform is waveform display here. Okay, so that you can actually see when people start talking and when the noise, the audio stops. So moving on, what you need to definitely locate when you open a software like this is the play, pause and stop buttons that are here. So this is your play button, the video plays normally, this is your pause button, and this button in between is a button that will take you to the relevant selected subtitle and only play the part of the video that corresponds to this particular subtitle. Okay, so moving on, when you want to add a new subtitle, when you're here, you click on Insert After, or you just press Enter. If you want to delete subtitles, you use Control and Delete. Okay, very easy, easy to use buttons. And I will now start with the creation of your subtitles. But before we move into that, we need to check the preferences in the same way that we did with Subtitle Workshop. And in order to get to the preferences, you can use the icon that you have here, or you go to View and Options. Okay, so let's take them one by one and see what is important to check. First of all, under General and Audio, you see the default timing length. I believe that this is 2000 by default, but if we want to follow the same settings that we did with Subtitle Workshop, we have to specify it to 1000. That will allow you to have one frame difference when you move from one subtitle to the other. Okay. The other thing that you need to check is under Video. So in the same way that we saw with Subtitle Workshop, when you do forward and rewind, that takes you back and forth by 10 frames, or in Subtitle Workshop, I believe it was 5, something like that. So the fast jump steps in the frames, for me, are useful at 1 frame, because that way I can be more accurate when timing in and out in a video with very fast dialogues. So I prefer to use 1 frame whenever I use rewind and forward. Then under interface, you can specify everything you need for your subtitles. colors and so on, but also inside interface, you need to set the maximum characters per line to 39. Characters per second are going to be 15, which is the lowest, which is the maximum, and it is going to give you a warning or an error whenever you do not comply with this. You should also uncheck the ignore whitespace and the ignore punctuation options. So very, very important. Maximum characters per line 39, characters per second warning threshold 15. Ignore whitespace and ignore punctuation should be unchecked. Okay, I'm going to save these settings, and I believe that I am now ready to start using the software in order to time my subtitles. Now, the example that I gave you with Subtitle Workshop, what I did is I presented a workflow whereby first we watch the whole video, second we create the transcript, we prepare the transcript, third we copy the content inside the video, inside the subtitle software in order to segment it before we start timing, and fourth, we start timing. In between, of course, or after this process, if you have to do translation of the original, you do the translation. Now, some people work this way. Other people prefer to time in the intervals first and then add the content. So with one software, we followed the first type of workflow. So first we copied the content and then we started timing. With this software, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to create the time intervals and then copy the text inside the subtitles that we have created. Please be careful. When you use this type of software, you will find that it is sometimes easier to use shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts, instead of looking for buttons around here, okay? Those shortcuts, the most important one, can be found in page 4 of your guide, and I think it would be useful to start looking into them. So I'm going to start with timing using the waveform that you have at the top on the right hand side. Now, what is important for you to remember is that you have a red bracket and a blue bracket. The red bracket indicates the beginning of the subtitle. The blue bracket indicates the end of the subtitle. The sound is visually shown by the green waveform line, and the pink vertical lines that you see here indicate a shot change. Very, very important, because we need to aim to switch subtitles as much as possible before the shot change. Now, let's start with time in and time out. For my first subtitle, in order to determine the timing, I will play the video and stop. Let's say that it starts here. Okay, we'll move my starting point here on the waveform, and then I have to drag the blue bracket where I'm expected to end my subtitle. Now, let's use this button to play the audio for the subtitle. Doesn't seem very accurate, does it? Let's play it from the video then. So that was just the music. I have to move further down to the next point where I see speech coming up. Maybe this is the actor's voice.
Now hold it.
And that was correct. This is where the actor begins to talk. This is where my starting point is going to be. So let's play it again.
Now hold it.
Okay, that seems correct, and I have to save it and continue with my next subtitle. So I just pressed enter and it was saved automatically, because one of the settings that I have specified is here, seek video to line start on selection change. So this actually applies all the corresponding changes based on the waveform directly to my subtitle file. Okay, so I move on.
I waited long enough. What happened back there?
I waited long enough. What happened back there seems to finish somewhere here. So this is my second subtitle. Let's play it again.
I waited long enough.
I waited long enough.
What happened back there?
What happened back there before the short chains?
I waited long enough. I waited long enough. What happened back there? I waited long enough. What happened back there? I waited long enough. What happened back there?
Okay, it seems to be somewhere here, but I'm not quite sure.
I waited long enough. What happened back there?
Okay, now with the
I
video.
waited long enough. I waited long enough. What happened back there?
This is where he stops talking. So this is my timeout, basically, based on the sound.
I waited long enough. What happened back there?
If I continue playing, I see there is a short change there, okay? Okay, just a little bit earlier than that. The short change seems to be here. Let's play it again. Okay, let's play it from here, from the video.
I waited long enough. What happened back there? I waited long enough. What happened back there?
Okay, we see that it's probably the next short change.
I waited long enough. What happened back there? I waited long enough. What happened back there?
Okay, now if I play from here, the short change, yes, we're right on stop for, on spot for the stop chain, for the short change. So this is where we can actually move to the next one. So he stopped talking here, so he should start talking somewhere there. Let's see. Let's commit that first and play again.
Who's?
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell you.
Okay, this is where she stops. So my end time is going to be somewhere there, and I move on with the rest. Okay, so you see that it is actually up to the subtitler whether they want to do the time in and the timeout using the waveform or whether they want to do it through the video. Now, what is problematic about the waveform is that you need to drag your marks to the specific area where you're expected to see to hear the audio based on the waveform. What is useful about it is the fact that you have the short changes indicated here with the pink bars, and I believe that what is preferable for you as subtitlers is to use a combination of the two. If you're used to other software that allows you to do time in and time out through the video, you should be using the video player and the time in and time out buttons that you have here at the top. So if I ignore the waveform completely and I say I'm here,
Who's?
I'm going to let it play.
Said it.
Okay, time out, next subtitle, time in.
That's what I'm not supposed to say.
I thought I was not supposed to say time out, and then I move on to the next and so on. If I want to do it with a waveform, then I stick to the waveform and then check against the video like we did before. So these are the two ways that you can pick from in order to do your timing. And always remember to use this button in order to check the audio or the video from the currently set timing. Okay, now if you want to actually not use the waveform at all, these are the two options that you have, and they correspond to Control 3 and Control 4, time in and time out. Okay, and always remember that with Alt right and Alt left, you move one frame backwards and one frame forwards. So this is a new shot. So my next subtitle for me would start exactly here with a new shot change. Then I would play the video. And if there was content here, With this button again, I would go back and stop my subtitle here, and then move to the next subtitle. Okay, so if you want to be very accurate with the shot changes, which you should do when the content is can be adjusted to whatever you have in the image, then I think it is preferable to use these Alt left and Alt right buttons in order to specify the shot change more specifically. Now we've reached the point where we've timed a couple of subtitles. And I'm going to add the content now. So the first one was now hold it. I take it from the transcript. I will replay now hold it. I put it here. I move to the second subtitle.
I waited long enough. What happened back there?
I waited long enough. What happened back there? So I'm taking this content, I'm copying it here, and my preference would be full stop and capital W. I see here that the characters are 47, so they should be separated in 2 lines. In order to separate in 2 lines, I use Shift Enter, and what I get is actually a /n that indicates that I have 1 line before that and 1 line after that. Okay? I move on with the next subtitle. I see here that there is a violation, there is an error, and that is in characters per second. So that means that when I go back to this subtitle, I can actually make use of the waveform now to extend it a little bit, give it some more time. If I save this, you see I just changed the character per second. I gave it some more space without affecting the next subtitle and fixing the current subtitle. If I replay this,
long enough. What happened back there?
okay, the only thing I need to take care of is actually to be very, very precise with the shot change. I don't want it to fall under the shot after the shot change.
Waited long enough. What happened back there?
So I need to go a little bit earlier. I need to stop there. And let's replay it again.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell. I'm not sure if I'm.
I waited long enough. What happened back there?
It falls again onto the shot change. This is why the waveform can be useful. So I fix it, I go back. So maybe what I need to change is something from the beginning, and if that is not possible either, it means that I have to cut some of the content. Let's see again.
I waited long enough. What happened back there?
Okay, it is correct in terms of shot changes. What I could do is reduce the text. What happened? Or I waited too long. What happened back there? Okay, now I'm using a different technique with this software than the technique that we used with Subtitle Workshop. With Subtitle Workshop, we decided to cut this subtitle in 2 and merge this with what was following in the next subtitle. So here I'm applying a different technique. This is why I'm telling you that both videos will be useful for you. And I move on to the next subtitle.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell you.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell you. Again, we have a very long line, 48 characters per line, so I have to cut it somewhere here, and I see that I'm now much better, but I get a 24 number here, and that 24 indicates the speed in characters per second. It is too long. Okay, so I need to decide what I can do here. I'm not going to split it. I will just change the content. I'm not sure if I should tell you. Okay, this is still 17. Let's say I don't have an option to extend my subtitles. I'm not sure if I should say. And I turn it into a one-liner with this kind of content. And I move on to the next, and so on and so forth. I hope this has helped a little bit to show you how you can produce subtitles here, to automatically commit all the changes that you make based on this waveform. You can press this button, okay, and keep it pressed. That way, any changes that you perform using the waveform will automatically be reflected in the subtitle file. Now, let's suppose that you've reached the end of the file and you want to submit it to the client. You will go to File, Export Subtitles, and because ASS that is produced by Aegisub is not very well supported by other software, what you want to produce is an SRT file. So from the formats that you have here, you pick SRT and save. Now, the file that I have produced using this software looks like this. The file that I have produced using Subtitle Workshop looks like this. So we have two files that are both supported by the client, okay? And I can deliver them whether I'm using one software or the other. Remember that you also have a spell checker that you can use here under subtitle. And you also have indications here with red color mostly when errors show up in your file. I hope that this session has been helpful.